edition of the Get the Fork Out. We have Danny Davies, author,
hey, how you doing?
yacht chef, podcaster, and we're going to go over some of his cool projects outside of cooking on a yacht, which we all love, but we all have other interests and other passions, don't we, Danny? Welcome.
Hi, how you doing? Nice to see you again.
Yeah, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Absolutely. Yeah. Where are you?
I'm up in New York at the moment at my boss's house. I'll give you a little show around. We're up at the lake house. Very nice. A little view out the window. We flew up here on Monday and then fly back on Sunday. And I'm going to go to the Palm Beach show. We're going to do the podcast, my podcast, Behind the Line with Chef Danny Davies with Triton News. We're going to do that on Sunday at live boat show in Palm Beach. So looking forward to that.
Amazing. So who do you have on the Behind the Line with Danny Davies? Who's your next guest? I saw you had Chef Tully.
Yeah, we did Jamie Tully. I've recorded 6 now. The one at the Palm Beach is going to be live. We've done some good ones. I don't want to say too much, but anyone who follows me on Instagram has already seen like the little teasers come out. We did a good one in Fort Lauderdale with Andrew Leacher. We went around all the different places, like how to provision in Fort Lauderdale. That was really good fun.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, wicked. And so you're doing them in a different format. You're doing them in person, which I think is really cool. Like I can't do that, but I think it's really, it's epic, man. And I'm really happy that you're doing a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of inspired me. Hey? I remember in COVID times in lockdown watching your videos and just saying, this is great. We kept trying to do it ourselves, but with the stewardesses, but we just kept laughing and we couldn't do it. We just had too much fun, I guess. But yeah, they really kept me going, and you kind of inspired me, and you get the fork out and what you do with the olive oil and gasoline. I just think it's great that, chefs can do the long hours, put the grind in, but also, get out there and do something else and share it to other chefs who are in the galley, putting the hours in, grinding out. And there comes a point when you've listened to all of your playlists and all your music, and you just want to have something different. And I use your podcast a lot and just listen to it, be prepping away.
Awesome,
really
man.
interesting.
Thanks.
And you've had some great chefs on as well. Some fantastic.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel very lucky that I know interesting people in this industry, and I think the word that drives this whole thing is community. And I just think it's like my time to put something back into the community, and I make nothing on it. I just find it interesting and something I want to do. But I do think it's something for the community. Like I just want us all to kind of be connected a little bit more. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, you know what it's like in a kitchen on land. You've got a little team around you, and those people you spend hours and hours and hours with. And then you get on a boat. I was a sole chef for 2 years, and it's just you and the occasional crew member that floats past in the galley. And you need someone just to kind of bounce ideas off and to talk to things about and work things out in your own head, and the banter as well. I miss the banter, the camaraderie, the Mickey taking and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, community is a huge part of it. And we're so isolated. We're like little islands on our boats, aren't we? Floating around. We can all see each other out the galley window, but and message each other. But yeah, it's so nice to see video and to hear people talk and find out their story and how they became a chef and how they got into yachting. It's really good fun.
Yeah, I want to talk about you, definitely, but I'm happy to talk about this a little long because I think it's important. I grew up in restaurants, and I've been working with food since I was 16. So just like you said, I grew up in these environments where there's banter. That's what you do. That's how you pass the time. That's how you do the same shit all day, every day. As passionate as you are, it gets monotonous, and you need to talk a lot of shit to get by. So I did 10 years as a sole chef, and I've missed that. It's so lonely in terms of that camaraderie. Obviously, the crew are great. The crew are amazing. But I just felt like to do this kind of podcasting was to connect to a community again, to be in a community with chefs, to bounce ideas off of. Community. That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, it is. Community, networking, different people. It's what drives us, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just makes us better because we can lean on each other for ideas, inspiration, any kind of support, whether it's physical or technical. It's just, man, it's powerful. And then you get plugged in, and it's like the resources it's almost limitless. I love it.
Yeah,
I do feel like I did when I used to work at a best restaurant in Boston. Like I have that feeling now, even though it's digital, it's really the best we can do, I feel like.
Yeah, and I love what Aaron's doing at Culinary Convenience. He started the Chef's Club back up on a Tuesday night. I mean, that's fantastic. I've never been able to make it to one, but just hearing the banter that comes back from it and the good vibes that people have about it, it's just so good.
Yeah, I think that's important. Just to stick together a little bit through these times. I think it's really important. But hi, Chief Engineer. Yeah, good. You're welcome. You're welcome. Chief Engineer just walked in. Yeah, I think it's amazing. But let's hear your story, man. Like, where did it all start for you? Do you have like a parent that inspired you to cook, or a relative, or something got you into restaurants? Or let's start.
I was a bit of a bad boy in school.
Yeah.
I got bullied a lot, and I used to like fighting. I have three sisters. And when I was around 12, 13 years old, my mum couldn't leave me alone on a Sunday. She would work at a pub as a waitress, doing Sunday roast in Britain. It's a huge thing. So she started dragging me along just so that I wouldn't cause any trouble at home. And I started washing the pots. Worked with this really beautiful souled old lady. She was probably, like, looking back, she was probably in her 50s, but you know, back then you got really old really quick, right? So she's a still old lady, and she'd make Sunday roast for around 50, 60 people, and I would wash the dishes. And every week she'd be like, you know, peel the potatoes for me, peel the carrots for me. And after maybe 2 or 3 months, I kind of had it, you know. I could come in, I could get the carrots smashed out, get all the veg preps, get all the meat tied up, start making the Yorkshire puddings. And just got, like, it was, I would then carry their food to the table, to their regulars, and give them their roast beef and their Yorkshire puddings and everything. And it just became like, I was important. I had a place, you know, I had a spot, you know, somewhere I belonged. And I didn't have that before in life. I was just always a bit, you know, bouncing from one thing to the next. And it just became a part of me. I did that for a couple of years. I got a girl pregnant in school, which was terrible, but it all went well in the end. But my nan sent me off to culinary college because my uncle had gone to culinary college. So I went to culinary college, did a couple of years there. I started working in a high-end fish restaurant. I learned so much. Again, it was another little old lady, just knew how to cook by taste and feel, and she just taught me. I learned so much from her, a little Cornish lady. And she got more and more sick, and I kind of took over more and more and more. I got my first head chef job at 18 in an Italian restaurant. And I mean, looking back now, you know, the guy just needed someone to cook, but I thought I was Gordon Ramsay. I was like, you know, look at me, 18, head chef. Which is intense. It was an 80-seater Italian restaurant. We had a pizzeria inside the pizza oven inside the restaurant, and we did all of the hot food from the main kitchen. Just lots to deal with, the ordering, you know, staff. Yes, I mean, staff's just a huge problems, and just dealing with all that. And I kind of moved away from cooking, but I always wanted to join the army. So I joined the army as a soldier, and you have to have a trade. So of course I went for chef. But because I'd been a head chef and learned the ways of the kitchen, more the management of the kitchen, I got put into the officer's mess in like every situation that I was in. So I ended up looking after the kind of 1% of the British Army. And that led me on to that led me on to lots of amazing things. Like I did a ski instructor's course, I did Arctic survival, jungle stuff, urban warfare, 5 tours of duty, Iraq, Afghanistan, Kosovo. And my last year, I was the chef for Prince Harry and Prince William, which was a great honour, and 2 you know, really cool people to work with. And I left the army, moved to Fiji with my wife. We had our first kid, moved to New Zealand, moved back to Fiji, and then came to Florida and started doing some chef consultancy. So working on a wedding venue and kind of streamline that and trying to make it more profitable. Then came back to England. Went to work in Afghanistan for the American Army, set up a DFAC, a dining facility. So started doing like really large scale stuff, like industrial feeding stations.
Wait, sorry, set up a what?
A DFAC, a dining facility, where I think it was 6,000 feet up a mountain on the Pakistan border, and we were a hawk's nest for an airport. So we fed around 800 soldiers, had a team of 65. And was like just upscaling the amount of people that I could cook for, because I thought that's where the money was. It's not fun being in Afghanistan up a mountain. So I only did it for around 9 months, like 10 months, I think I did it for. And then I got a job as a teacher back in the UK, and I started teaching culinary arts, catering and hospitality, waiting tables, all that kind of stuff. And that's when I started the Future Chef project. I was trying to get, my students had to write letters as part of their English exam. And they all wanted to write them to Gordon Ramsay and Jane Molinville and those kind of people, but they would never answer, or you'd get some PR, slip of paper saying, thanks very much. And that was kind of it. So I created this network on LinkedIn and started linking with chefs that were happy just to receive letters and respond to them. And it started off really small. I think I've got over 20,000 now on LinkedIn, and a really big network of people that are very willing to share information with new people coming into the industry. And that kind of took me on to different things. I started working with kids that had speech and language issues, and they wanted to learn to cook. But it was just difficult. So what I would do is I would record myself cooking the dishes, and they would go back to their specialist college, and they would watch the videos over and over and over again. And then when they came back the next week, we would cook it. And to start off with, it was really ropey. But once we brought the videos in, they just got better at it. They just understood it more because they could absorb it. For me and you, if someone shows you how to do something like your lockdown videos, if you show me how to chop an onion, 2-3 times I've got it, right? And most students are like that, but these kids, they just couldn't, it just didn't sink in. So the videos really helped, and that got me interested in like websites, social media. I think it was Twitter back then. I used to do it on Twitter and YouTube, posted it onto YouTube. Then a London college got hold of me, and I went and started up London Careers College. Kind of upscaled what I was doing. So instead of just me cooking, I would go to Michelin star rosette restaurants and hotels, spend a week with their chefs, record the dishes, and then we had students doing the same thing. They'd watch the video 3-4 times, learn the dish. We usually hook up with. Great idea. Yeah, it was really good, eh? And we'd have like 2 or 3 of the chefs would watch the videos of the students cooking, or we'd do a live link up. And then they would pick 2 or 3 of the chefs, and they would go off to their restaurant and do 2-3 week stages there. And that was through a 2-year program that we had them. So the kids that came out of that program after 2 years just had so much knowledge, so much skill. They were trained to the restaurant that wanted to take them for a job. So we were like pipelining them from school straight into, Michelin star or rosette place, which is great.
Everybody wins. Everybody. That's great. What a fabulous idea, because it's just such a good way to educate people and get them on the right path where a restaurant doesn't have to take greenies. They are green, but at least they have some knowledge.
Well, we found that we did a couple of focus groups, and we found that, head chefs would be saying, I don't want a catering college student because they think they know this and they know nothing. So we're like, well, what do they need to know? What should we teach them? So we started teaching them their menus. Yeah, and it works, right? Because if they already know to do it before you've got them, it's a no-brainer.
That's a sick
idea.
So
I went from that. I started doing consultancy, working with these bigger restaurants and hotels. A lot of people would ask me, "Can you do this? Can you do this training sessions?" So I started doing that in kind of the summer holidays, opening restaurants. Did a few strange concepts. I did a cycling cafe. I had a bike shop upstairs. A mechanics like on the same level as the restaurant, and it was all refuel, recharge, and reward. So everything on the menu was either a refuel thing where it's like protein based, or it was recharge where it was vitalizing shakes and energy drinks and things like that, or it was reward and it was cakes and buns and everything. And
then you could have had repair. You could have afforded
repair. Yeah, they did, and the repair was like through into the mechanics. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And restock was the bike shop upstairs. It was a clever idea. So we did that. I did a bunch of other ones. I started doing hotels into wedding venues. Again, I was like determined that the more people you could feed, the more money you would make. So I kept doing these big operations. Me and the missus, we got 2 kids together. We decided we wanted to go live in Florida. Tried to do that. Trump got into power. It all kind of got a bit ropey. And someone suggested, why don't you become a yacht chef? And I was like, what's a yacht chef? And I was thinking of it as, like a cruise chef, like someone works on a cruise ship, and was kind of like, no, I don't know if I want to do it. an old army friend got me in contact with a Navy guy who's called John Jones. He's called the Migrating Chef, and he had a YouTube channel and he was on Instagram. And he said, start an Instagram channel, start putting your food out there, and you know, do your CV, do your SCTW, do all that kind of stuff, and you'll be all right. You're a good chef. You've got a good head on your shoulders. You'll be okay. So I did it. I was a bit worried that I wouldn't be able to cook. So I went back to a really busy pub. We used to do like 250, 300 people. I took that head chef job for 3 months, and it was horrible. Yeah, I was like 14, 15 hours a day. Just as soon as the doors open at 12 o'clock, you just got slammed until 9:30. Just ticket after ticket after ticket. It was crazy. But I felt like, you know, I got back on the pots and pans and was ready to shake and bake. And then got my first job on a yacht on Al Sail, which is a big 125-meter royal yacht. And that was a real eye-opener. I had a head chef and a crew chef, and I was the salad chef. So to come from opening restaurants to being, you know, making salads, I was like, what is going on? But the money was really good, and the education was really good. I did about 3 weeks on there, and then I got my first job as a sole chef on a charter boat in the Bahamas. And I've kind of stayed in the Bahamas. I've done a couple of med seasons, but that kind of 50-meter yacht range charter boat, it's kind of where I've been at.
Yeah, I'm very familiar. And do you like that size? Do you like being sole chef, or do you want to do something more bigger, team oriented? Or
I mean, it's been really fun. I was on Excellence, a 150-foot charter boat for 2 years, and it's sold now. But I just went over to Germany, to Lursen, and set up Project Enzo, which is now Apu, which is again 115-meter huge boat, massive team, like 50 crew. I think 45 operates with like 55 crew in total. We had everybody there as well. And I took over from the other chef, the head chef, who had rotated out, and he'd gone to Jamaica to work at the boss's hotel. And I was literally just taking his orders in of all the equipment, the thermomixers, the small equipment, the racking, the shelving, taking all that in, and then ordering all the food, dealing with the contractors, dealing with negotiations, how much it's going to cost and all that, recruiting staff, training staff. 2 months, and I was like, I'm done. It was such hard work and so stressful and so cold. So I did it for 2 months. I came back to Florida with the idea that I was going to go back and join them in Jamaica. But my baby mama and my kids kind of gave me the ultimatum of, Dad, we want you to stay at home. I've been working for the family that I'm working for now. I've been working for them for a year. They let me go and do the Jamaican job boat because it's such a big thing, great opportunity. And they took me back. And so I'm working for them now. We got a boat trip, a yacht trip up in New England in the summer. They just came back from Galapagos on a boat. So I'm still doing boats, but I'm kind of staying in this family for now.
Yeah, I mean, your family first as well. Like, kind of, I don't have that pull, so I get it. That it's the most important thing.
Yeah, and I'm like 6 weeks on a boat, 2 weeks at home, 6 weeks on a boat. You know, it's 5 years of them doing it. They just had enough, really. Kids are getting older. My oldest is 13, youngest is 10. And they're like, Dad, you're never home. And it's like, yeah. Kind of got it, really, haven't you?
So that brings us to kind of like your current spot in the timeline. Like, this is now Danny Davies is here. Now, I would love to talk about your cookbook. What happened? What inspired that? And tell us the kind of the process of designing, printing, testing, and like, I'm sure a lot of chefs would love to know that.
Yeah, it's been a journey. I have a few friends that are yacht chefs that have written books. So a lot of people have said to me, you should write a book, So I started investigating and finding out like what it takes. And I was honestly just put off by the amount of work, amount of time and money that goes into it. And then someone suggested to me, why don't you self-publish on Amazon? So I started looking at that and going, actually, it's not that crazy. The reason I chose Vegan Plus is the family I cook for now, the boss is an elite athlete. He does triathlons and stuff like that. And his food regime is very strict in what he eats and when he eats it and how many calories and all that kind of stuff. And he's kind of cut out meat completely from his diet. So it's mainly fish, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of egg, like some proteins, but mainly it's plant-based. So I started eating like that too, and running, and just found like I had a new lease of life. I had so much energy when I woke up. I would recover quicker from runs. I'd do a run, and then like the next day, my legs would be stiff and stuff like that. But when I started being plant-based, I'd get up, I'd be fine. Like I wouldn't have that soreness or that inflammation, you know, just like that grogginess in the morning of like, oh, another day, I can't get away to get a coffee. It's just revitalized. So I was like, this is great. This is fantastic. I started getting a lot of traction on Instagram with some of the pictures I was taking. So I was like, well, let's match the pictures with some recipes and kind of put my ethos together and put the book together. So I started doing that. It didn't take too long to kind of come together. I had to get some help with the kind of layout and the way it has to be. And then just opened an account on Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing it's called, and published it. And it's available. You can buy it as an audio book. I think it's like $15 as an audio book. You can buy the actual copy, which they print out for like $20. It's just an ebook. It's just recipes and plating notes and a little bit about the ethos of what I do. I've got another one in the works now. I did one with Chef Manny, who's a Mexican chef. So we've done it. We called it Vegan Plus Mexican. A lot of little tricks and kind of different techniques in there, but sticking mainly to Mexican food and trying not to really replace the meat with vegetables, rather make it plant-based from the beginning.
Okay. What's Manny's last name?
Vasquez. Emmanuel
okay, I was thinking about a different Manny. So
yeah,
where can people buy your book? Like pitch it. Like tell so
it's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. Just search for Chef Danny Davies.
Just search on Vegan Plus Danny Davis, and they'll find it. Yeah,
they'll find it. It's there.
That's awesome.
I'll give you some links. You can put it below. It's in the bio below, right?
Yeah, links. Yeah. We're supposed to say this too. Like, like and subscribe. Yeah.
Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Comments, all that. Share it. Thanks from both of us. So what is because right as you said, audiobook. So what is because I haven't heard an audio cookbook before. Talk us through that.
Basically, it's the same thing, right? So you've got to have quite a bit about your ethos and what you're planning to do, and then it's the recipe. So listening to it back, you've got to make sure that it kind of makes sense, and it's not just a list of instructions. Like we're used to having recipes like put this up, put that in there. So just trying to add a little bit more kind of a voice.
Observations. Yeah, it's going to sound like this, and it's going to smell like this, and look like this, and then you flip it over. That kind of.
Yeah. That's it.
All right.
That's it. So cool. I've got another one coming out. We got the Mexican one coming out. We've got a couple more in the works we're kind of working with now. I kind of got it down to a bit of an art, so we can get them out pretty quick. But it's getting chefs over to take the pictures of the food, cook the food, and get the pictures of the food. That's my kind of sticking point at the minute.
Yeah, that would take a while. That would take a while. And I heard and recipe testing as well. But I mean, I don't think that's that hard in terms of like getting the ingredients properly so that people can recreate it quite accurately. But yeah, I don't think that's that hard. I just have a friend of mine that does it, but she's not a professional chef. So I think she gets hung up on the recipe testing. But
yeah, it takes a while. Awesome. You have to go through it a few times, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's good to get someone else to cook it as well. Because as a chef, you kind of know a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And yeah. So I actually get my youngest girl, she does my recipe testing. She's 10. But she's a wizard in the kitchen. We get Hello Fresh. Cool. She does the Hello Fresh recipes. It's like a card, and you get all the ingredients. So she's not bad actually. She can make sushi as well, which I'm very proud of.
That's great, man. That's awesome. I'm sure you taught her well. Take us through recipe testing. How does that work? Because like if you add too much something, you gotta like start over again and dial it back and weigh it out. And
basically you just gotta, no, because normally I write the recipe beforehand, right? So I'm like, I know what's going in it. So you just weigh everything out and then make it again and test it and see what it tastes like, see if it tastes good. A lot of the dishes that I make have pickles in and things like that, so it's difficult to like recreate it because it takes 3 weeks for the pickle to taste good. So a lot of that I kind of do. I'll make a batch of pickle and I'll keep using the same thing. But yeah, for like most of the dishes are pretty simple as well and pretty quick and easy to make. So I mean, like, say the tuna donut that everyone loves. That's just a tuna, ahi tuna, and avocado with a bit of mango in it. You know, it's like a dish that I think every yacht chef has in their repertoire somewhere: mango and tuna and avocado, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's all I did, was just decorate it nicely and make it look pretty.
Yeah, I saw it on Instagram. That's a great dish. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I made it an NFT now.
Did you?
Yeah, kind of like dabbled in that area. I don't really understand it 100%, but I know that it's going to get bigger, right? I mean, if Facebook are going to change the name to Meta, it's going to get bigger.
Yeah, I like it as well too. Like I think it's kind of horrible how I'll just name one genre, like musical artists don't get paid like they used to. Like they just don't make the same amount of money, and you can make an argument, do they need to? Whatever, but they're also kind of getting their shit stolen and kind of ripped off with streaming services. And I think NFTs help that sort of thing where it's just locked down. That's kind of as far as my information goes on what they are. I kind of get it, and it's just a way to copyright shit forever.
Yeah, basically, yeah, just to prove that's yours. It's like a stamp in time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't minted any, so none are for sale, but they're up there. The project's up there. I don't know where it's going to go. My little girl made me a virtual restaurant in Roblox, so you can go visit that. It's called Vegan Plus in Restaurant Tycoon 2.
Isn't Roblox like a Minecraft sort of thing?
Yeah, so it's like a little metaverse, right? It's Restaurant Tycoon 2. You can go in, anyone can go in, and they search for Vegan Plus, and you can go to my restaurant and have some vegan food virtually.
Virtually eat. Yeah, that's the next thing. It's somehow going to satiate us somehow. All right. Well, Vegan Plus sounds awesome. I'm going to buy a copy. I think everyone should. Like, fuck it, why not? Let's support Danny's new thing here. And so what's now behind the line, the podcast? Because that's your biggest thing now. You cook for a elite athlete, and then you have Vegan Plus. You're doing Vegan Plus Mexican, and now behind the line. And take us through what that looks like. I think you're doing it with Triton.
Yeah. So one of the agents I used to use is Corley Quirk. I don't know if you know her, Corley. She's fantastic. So when I left Excellence, nearly a year ago now, I had a long conversation with her, and they're building a place in the Bahamas called Hurricane Hole, where we're doing that. And we talked a lot about that.
Familiar.
I used to have this idea about making growing microherbs and flowers in the Bahamas in containers and then selling it to yachts. I had this fantastic idea I was going to do it, but COVID happened and I kind of didn't. She got me in contact with her husband, who just bought Triton magazine. And then he said, why don't you speak to the editor? Let's see what you can do, write a few stories. So I sat down with a lady called Kerry Bailey. And I didn't know, but she literally just been hired a couple of weeks before as their sales and marketing. So we sat down, we had a chat. And she's saying, maybe you should do a podcast like Joe Rogan. I was like, yeah, there's a couple of people that do podcasts. I mentioned your name. I was like, yeah, that'd be really interesting. And it's just kind of snowballed from there. It's just me and her. We have a phone and a microphone, and we get the chefs and literally just find a place to sit down and do it. The last one we did with Patricia Clark, I actually broke into. I didn't break in. Not tell anybody. I snuck in through a window. I snuck in through a window at LMC in their gym, and we recorded it in the gym. I mean, that's the kind of level we're at.
Good.
But we got it out. We've got the first one out. We've got 6 in the bag. We've got a bunch of people lined up to record some more. Hopefully, we're going to get some sponsorship for it. It's just a great way using Triton's a great way to kind of put it out there. Their magazine, I don't know if you remember it from a few years ago, it just kind of used to come out when there was a boat show on it. It'd be like the local newspaper that would go out.
I'm very familiar. I know the old owners, Lucy Chabot and David Reed. Yeah, nice people.
Yeah, lovely people, right?
Yeah.
But very small scale, not on the level of like Boat International or Dock Walk. And that's where they're trying to go. They're trying to they're trying to move it to more of a glossy magazine and distribute it further than just Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach. And so I'm, happy to help them with their digital side of it, to give myself a voice and to give other yacht chefs a voice. I think there's so many times there's such a bad rap as yacht chefs, that we're some alcoholic, drug-fueled monsters that just kind of sit in a galley and most of us aren't. Most of us have done fantastic stuff in our life, traveled extensively, have a massive repertoire of food, not just like we cook one thing. We can do baking, sushi, barbecue, like so many different things. And I just think it's really interesting. And also, there's usually only one or two chefs on a boat. And there's so many other members of crew. I don't think we get the platform that we deserve as chefs, and the amount of time and effort it takes just to be on the boat, just to be a chef on the boat, takes a massive amount of time and effort to get to. We're not, line cooks in Arby's or Olive Garden. There's a different level to a yacht chef, and I just don't think we get the right platform. So I'm happy that I've got behind the line to kind of get people out there. And also, a lot of chefs have a little sideline, right? A little hustle on the side, something else they're doing.
Always.
And it gives them a chance to kind of promote that on behind the line. We just had Jamie Tully. He's got Culinary Genius is his store, an online store, and he sells knives and stuff like that. And he's trying to expand it now to become a provisioner, which I think is a fantastic idea.
We'll put that link in the comments as well.
Yeah, it's in the comments.
In the comments, right next to the subscribe button. Dude, well, I love like this is. I think you just said it quite succinctly, like right there, a side hustle. Like you can be a yacht chef and still want to do other things, and actually maybe need to do other things, like
for your sanity, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I really appreciate all those kind of what the different things that you've tried and like achieved, and I think it's the way forward. Just to be a yacht chef is great. I still love it, but to still just want and need to do other things, it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it is our lives, isn't it? You get up in the morning, you're in the galley, and you spend all day in the galley. To have something else to kind of bounce off or to talk about, at least, it feels better. I'm sick of talking about food to people. Whenever you meet anyone new, it's like, oh, what do you like to cook? Oh, what do you think of this? And it's like, oh, come on, I've been doing this for 25 years. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about what you do.
Yeah, I agree that those questions are my favorite. Is I think we just talked about it on the group, which is about like what was the question? What's your specialty? Well, that's not what we do. It's not even possible in this line of work. Like, you got to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah, you got to be special at everything.
Really special, yeah. Special at everything. That's good. Yeah. No, it's a fun career, because you end up like learning a bunch of shit about these food and these cultures, and it's fascinating. And then you can travel to these places sometimes just innately through work and be completely immersed. It's amazing. But yeah,
it's one of the nicest things is being, like I said, completely immersed in the culture and the food. I've really enjoyed a few years ago. I was out in the BVI's, and we had the Jamaican guy on from the boat I just did, actually, from the poop, and he really wanted to taste the local food. So you just got to like, what can you do? You can't get off the boat for a couple of hours and go and sit with some locals. So you've got to research it, work it out, get some local ingredients in, and give it your best shot. I think immersed
might be the wrong word. Like, I don't think how you can be immersed in a culture floating around on a super yacht. I think I misspoke on that one.
There's definitely another level of immersion that you can do, right?
Yeah.
But I know a lot of chefs that have spent time in like Mexico and stuff like that, and really got in deep and learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah. No, it's possible. It just depends on the program. Well, I mean, I can name the reasons, but I won't now. I love charter boats, so it's usually just back to back, and there's no time for that. But hence rotation, hence a motorcycle trip around the world for the last 15 years off and on. Like, I mean, I love a side hustle. I love a good side hustle.
Yeah, well, I never know where you are. Like, every time I see you, like in another country doing something else, and I just think that's fantastic.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's good fun. I think it's I forewent, if that's a word, the wife and kids, and so that's the kind of the freedom I can have at this point in time. But it's man, that trip up north was ridiculous. But it's a story for another time. Story for another time. What's next? How many vegan plus books do you think you want to do? What's
My target's like 10 over 2 years. But I'm just going at it, like I'm trying not to set myself too many targets. I'm spending a lot more time in the gym now and kind of working on me, which is nice to have that kind of time to do it. And obviously working for the guy that I do, it's a very important. I stay in shape and stay trim and don't become his fat chef and he's some elite athlete doing triathlons. So like I feel like I need to keep a certain level of fitness going. But yeah, I'm just seeing how it goes. Knocking them out when I can. Again, it's getting the chefs in. It's getting someone to be with me for a couple of days just to cook the food. That's the real sticking point, really.
And is it like the next one? Is it going to be another like ethnic variety, another spin on it, like vegan plus Greek or Italian?
I've recorded one with a Ukrainian chef, which he's just asked me to hold back on it because of what's happening in the world right now. So we're just sit on that one a little bit. Yeah, she's got she's got family, and so she's not available. Let's say, yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. Right. But yeah, so there's that one. And yeah, I'm just looking for the next one, really.
Sick. Yeah. I really I love that you're doing a podcast. I love that someone else is doing a podcast because I just think it's like what you said. It's just interesting stories. There's all kinds of characters in this business, and it's just fun to get to talk to them, put it out there. Whoever listens. And you know what I'd like to get. I love having chefs, and I think chefs are easy and fun. But I'd like to get more suppliers on.
Yeah, that's something I'm really interested in because seeing their point of view, because that's who we deal with the most of, right? And have the problems with or have the good things with. So it'd be really interesting to find out their story, how they became provisioners and how they do things. Yeah, I'm trying. I've been knocking on a few doors, but everyone seems busy or doesn't really want to talk.
Yeah, busy or kind of shy. But it's going to happen. But provisioners are great. I think if whoever's not a yacht chef doesn't know that a provisioner during a busy season it's almost as important as your sous chef, or it's such a necessary necessary thing with all these guest requests that come last minute and plans change and your provisions are heading east, but now we're going west and they need to flip it around. Like it's incredible what they do. So I want more provisioners on the podcast, but also people that grow things, like people that grow cattle in the UK, or I would love to have, because I find those stories so fascinating. Like, just tell me how it's done. Like, it's great.
Yeah. To see where the raw products come from and how they get to you, and the care and effort that's taken into that. Yeah, it's so true. You had that guy on, I can't remember his name, from Amsterdam, who does all the ferments and pickles and things like that. Japanese stuff. Yeah, I think it might be Dennis Esky, someone like that, right?
Yeah. Dennis is awesome.
Yeah,
no, he's doing really cool stuff. We're trying to get him
from your podcast. I got in contact with him, and we got some fantastic stuff of him. And what a guy! He's so passionate about what he does, and it's the level of understanding of what he does is phenomenal. I had a great conversation.
Yeah, he's a wealth of food knowledge, not just Japanese, but definitely that is his specialty. But yeah, we're trying to get him to make some garums for us, but just cost effectively. I don't think he really wanted to kind of do it or start it, but he's I'm going to turn one of these fridges into a fish aging box with koji, and he turned me onto that because I went to Belgium to go visit him, and it's like to age fish that way and to age meat, like age anything that way, it's intense. It's really cool. So there's a fridge here that we don't really use. I just want to jerry rig it a little bit, and then I'd like to get on the dry aged fish guy. Have you seen him on Instagram?
No, I haven't, but I have tried a bit. I did some halibut and I did some tuna. Pretty good results. Yeah, pretty tasty. Because you've got to get all that moisture out of there first, right? That's
exactly. Yeah, it just makes sense. You just concentrate all the flavors and the fats and just get rid of some of that flavorless water.
Mm-hmm. Intense flavors, really cool.
Really good, yeah.
It was like creamy and yeah, sublime. It was really, really like just different level texture wise. It was like some crazy kind of it was like almost oily. It had the because that was all that's left. All the moisture had gone. It was just like the oil of the fish and this beautiful silky flavor and texture. Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, I love it. It sounds like counterintuitive. It sounds disgusting. Like you're gonna age.
Yeah, it sounds
fish,
like it would stink as well, right? When I first did it, I was like, this is stink. But it doesn't at all. It doesn't.
It's all in the cleaning. Like you got to clean the hell out of it and just kind of get any kind of nasty bacteria off it. But I don't know, that association with bacteria is so different. Like there's so many positive bacteria. Like we're covered in bacteria and full of it as it is, but not all bacteria is created equal. So yeah, get the bad ones off and just leave room to get covered in the good stuff, and you have nothing to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah, I want to get good at it. But Dennis is great. I would like to have him on again because he's just the stuff he could talk about. Incredible. Yeah.
What's next for you? What are you doing next?
Let's see.
Because you just took over this, right? The yacht guys left.
Yeah. So I got 10 weeks here in Barcelona. We got a refit coming, which is great. My sous chef is going on leave because there's going to be a good stint where the galley is going to be down. But so not a full galley refit, but just the hotline, minus the ovens. The ovens are still brand new. Yeah, I'm excited. And then we go into like busy charter season. But I'll swing off, and then Ruin will come on, and I not getting too much into it. I've got a pretty sick father in California, so I have to. I would love to go to the motorcycle. I'm getting it prepped now. It kind of got fucked up at this shop I had it at for a while, and COVID I couldn't go to it. So I would love to go to the bike, but I'll probably have to go to California and just help my dad out a little bit. But we'll see. Yeah, that'll be in June.
Yeah, June. It's not that far away, is it? Really?
No, 10 weeks on, 10 weeks off. I love the rotation. It's great. Rotation charter for me. That is perfect. Like I love it. You get charter guests, and you have everything that goes along with that, all the positive challenges, because that's how I look at it. Because you don't know what part of Food Town they're going to take you. You have no idea. And then you go to that part of Food Town, and you're like, holy shit, I like it here. This is great. This is like as you discovered with your boss. Like you kind of get led in a direction by someone's dietary either restrictions or needs, and you end up learning a bunch of new shit you never would have learned.
Yeah, true. When I
like
had them on for the charter, they were a nightmare. Like we had just him and the missus on, and Jesus, everything I put up, they were like, no, we can't eat this. We don't want that. We don't want it like this. It was such a battle. But yeah, every time I actually served them food, they were over the moon with it. And then to make the offer like they did, yeah, it's been great. How about you? How do you do it? Do you have like set menus that you do for each charter, or do you just kind of go for it?
No, I just kind of go for it. I just lay out like each meal usually has a theme. If it's no theme, then it's med, but it's going to be like some sort of ethnic. And because I think the challenges that we have is we got to be a different restaurant every meal in order to keep these people entertained. Like say if you go to a resort with your family, imagine eating at the same restaurant for 2 weeks every day, like that, all 3 meals, like it's insanity. So I think that's where a lot of the pressure lies with being on as a yacht chef, whether it's sole or with a team, is to keep people interested, to not have a specialty, be able to spread it all out. So I don't even know if that answered your question. It just depends, like what does a preference sheet say? I think the preference sheets are getting better. I've been doing it 20 years. And the preference sheets in the beginning were shocking. You couldn't get anyone to fill them out, or they never got them or whatever. But yeah, now they're getting a lot better. I feel like they're much
they
more
fill
like
them out when they've had a couple of glasses of wine, and they're like, yeah, we're gluten-free,
caviar, truffle.
And then they get on the boat like, I just want a burger.
Yeah, that is, and people eat pretty casual. I feel like the Michelin star thing is a bit like, it happens, but not that often. Usually there's kids involved, or it's usually just kind of family food, but it's good fun. It's chaos, but I just like that. I like that team environment too with the crew, where you're just trying to like just show these people the best time you can and get through it. And
Yeah,
On to the
get
next
the
one.
level right up there. Make sure everyone's like
Yeah,
hitting there. That's such a good feeling when you've got that as well. When
yeah,
the charter's going in, you're 3-4 days in, and it's just hitting it every time. Like, yeah, we got this.
yeah,
It's going to be good tips. I love that
yeah.
feeling. Yeah.
And good guests. I love it when you have good guests. You're like, these people are awesome. These people are they're doing wealthy right. I like them. Yeah. So if you do, yeah, you got 10 books in hand. And then is there another project you kind of, do you want to do the microgreen thing in the Bahamas?
No, probably won't now. I was going to buy land
No?
there and stuff, but yeah, probably won't. I do grow a lot. I grow a lot of flowers now and a lot of herbs. I've just bought a urban cultivator, so it looks like a under counter refrigerator, but it has all the bits in it, and you just put it straight in and set the seeds
Wow.
off, and it goes for it. Yeah. Hopefully get delivery of that in the next few days, in a few weeks. Sorry. We've just moved house. My boss has bought a house about 3 times the size of the one that he had. So we just moved over like 3 weeks ago. Obviously up in New York. So we're up here at the moment for the week, just to kind of work out what needs to happen, ready for the summer, because we come up here for 2 weeks in the summer. And he's just bought the house over there, the other side of the lake. So I've got to go over there tomorrow when he's back and suss that out and how we're going to deal with that. And we've got a new property that he bought in Montana for a ski lodge. So that hasn't been built yet. So that's we're due to get that at the end of next year. So yeah, it's just dealing with all of these different things. He just bought a jet as well, and he was keen for me to cook on the jet. But going on it on Monday, there's no galley in it. It's a microwave and a coffee machine. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun to be with a guy that's so ready to spend his money and have some fun.
Yeah. It sounds like a really good, interesting, just person to be involved with, where it's just, let's go for it. Let's do it. What do you need? How can we hook this up? Yeah, that's a great position to be in.
Yeah.
Is your family in New York, or is your family?
No, they're in Florida. I live about 20 minutes from the boss's house in Florida. And to be honest, he spends the majority of the time there. Just really the summers up here now.
Yeah, winters in New York are not that nice.
Yeah, it's freezing. So it's like 56 today. It was horrible on my run. It was raining and everything. I was like, oh, I want to be back in Florida.
So you switched to Fahrenheit, I see, 56.
It doesn't make sense to me now. If I use the English one, like no one knows what I mean. So.
For Celsius, yeah.
I still weigh everything in grams. I still weigh everything in grams, but oven temperatures, it's all that. And lengths, it's all American now. It just makes more sense.
Right. No one else is going to understand if you say kilometers or meters, so it's kind of pointless.
Mm-hmm.
But it's clearly metric is a much better system. Like clearly, yes. I'm so frustrated at my country. I'm like, come on, this is embarrassing.
It's vastly superior. It's in tens and hundreds. It just makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
I don't even understand an inch and 3/8. It makes no. I don't understand it. But I'll measure stuff out to it. I'll measure it out and send it to people if that's what they want.
Yeah. And then recipes, and I'm going to time this recipe by 3. Oh shit! Or by 30. Oh shit! What am I going to do with all these quarter teaspoons? Like, what is quarter teaspoon times 30? I mean, I know what it is, but oh yuck! What?
So it did help me out doing the cups when I started weighing things out on boats. I'd be like, the cups. That was like genius.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I don't tell people that. I don't tell my American friends that the cups and teaspoons are actually quite useful on a boat where a scale doesn't work because it's rough. It's the only thing they're good for. Other than that, throw them out. When you were in Afghanistan, like, or when you were doing one of your 5 tours, do you have any like funny cooking stories, like, or was there ever any violence where you were?
Yeah. Lots of violence. Yeah, I mean, mainly war-torn countries. So Kosovo was, we're in Macedonia originally. An Italian airbase is where we were set up. Our kitchens were set up, and we were feeding around 50 people, and they were getting into convoys ready to go across the border. And that was so intense. We spent 2 days sitting in the convoy, just everyone just kind of cooking for themselves out of ration packs. And then we just watched all of the planes going over, all the bombs come down, the paratroopers dropping in, like the mess that this caused and the explosions and stuff. And then we driving towards it. That was just so intense, and going past refugee camps and just seeing the devastation that happened, rolling into Pristina, which is one of the capital cities in Kosovo, and setting up camp. It took us around 3 or 4 days to clean up. We took over a soap factory. It took us about 3 or 4 days to clean up the kitchens there, and we got them operational and started feeding around 150 soldiers from that location. But yeah, I've seen some horrible films and some horrible stuff. Which is why it's nice to be in the Bahamas working on a boat and stuff like that.
Yeah, I bet. I think you've earned that right to have the tranquility of that kind of workspace.
And I think it's the mindset as well, you know, like nothing's impossible. If you put your mind to it, get in there and do it, get the job done, then, you know, job's done, we can have a beer now. So I think that's something that's really helped me out in yachting. You hear I don't know, like sitting with the captain, he's telling you this is happening, you've got these people coming on, we're going to go to this island, and you've got people freaking out, and it's like, okay, so how do we work this out? Where do I need to make sure my provisions are, and what's the logistics of that? And I think all that came from our military training, like just to be calm in that situation and work it out.
Yeah, and without any military training, I do love that challenge of the logistics of having to do that, and the good cooperation with like chief officer and captain about, you know, guests just change plans and where we're going to do, how we're going to get a tender, we got to get it delivered when they're not going to need the tender or tenders. And it's just, I think that's part of what chefs are, is we just solve problems. That's kind of what our whole day is just putting out fires. Like,
just solving problems and putting food on a plate to people smile.
Yeah.
I was thinking about one of those things that you asked me is like, what would be your favorite meal or stuff like that. I got to say this, my favorite thing to cook is a birthday cake, because of the joy that it gives to the person that you give it to and all of their family around. When you bring that cake out, that feeling of, you know, like celebration of that person's life and that happiness that everyone's had when you're saying happy birthday. I just think that is quintessentially like the best thing that you can do.
Yeah, I love a good birthday cake, but I did think this weird like thought of we had my buddy Steve, we were chartering on Magumbo for like 4 years together, and his birthday was in July, so his birthday was always like mid charter trip. So you make him a cake, and there's only like 2 crew around, and he doesn't even want the cake. You know, it's just like he knows we're stressed in the galley, like long hours. There's only 2 people to sing him happy birthday. It's just like, it was so funny though. It was hilarious. It was great. We talk about it every time we see each other. There was always a cake, but it was just like, we even get him a little party hat. You know? Oh man, I love those times though. Those like hectic times. Good memories, you know. You always remember the bad times, right? Like you always remember, not necessarily that was bad, but you remember the good times are kind of easy to forget sometimes.
What they say, hard times make hard men make easy times make soft men. So yeah. It's good, hard, right?
But yeah, but it's true though. Like it's an interesting axiom where you just kind of get stuck on the hard stuff, and you like it and enjoy it, and then it just makes the best stories. Like if I tell people motorcycle stories, if I tell them, oh, it was amazing and I went over the Andes, and they're like, all right, great. If I tell them like hardship, if I tell them something was a huge pain in my ass, like that sucked, and it's a great story. That's what they want to hear.
Yeah, I think we need it as humans, don't we? We need to rub up against something. We need a bit of friction. We need a bit of, you know, a bit of hardship, something to push through, and we feel better for it when we've done it. I think it's a really important part of life.
Yeah, I think if you're a chef for as long as you've been, and to do like 5 tours in Afghanistan, that means you re-upped. You know, that means like that was kind of something that you wanted to do and you needed to do at that time in your life. And I do respect what you did there and probably saw there, and the challenges that would innately come in situations like that over and over again, and you liking it, you know, like that. This is I'm into it.
Yeah, not anymore though.
No.
I'm too old.
Yeah, We both
I just
are.
want to drink cocktails by a pool. That's all I want to do.
Yep. Say that last part again.
I just want to drink cocktails by the pool. That's all I want to do. I want drop off
margaritas,
day
man.
every day.
Drop off day. Those are, man. But you can't enjoy the good without like going through the bad. You know, that's why drop off days are so good. It's like you suffered a little bit. Like you didn't get a lot of sleep. You lost out on maybe a little bit of life admin, and now it's drop off day, and it's cheers.
Yeah, that beer tastes good, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you earned it as well. Like you earned it. Yeah. Nah, man. Dude, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it, and I'm so
pleasure.
stoked that you're doing a podcast and the book. And it was for me. I always look forward to having someone on Get the Fork Out. But like I'm always blown away like how interesting people are, and like to hear all your full backstory like that. Awesome, man. I really appreciate it, and yeah, man. Thanks for coming on.
It's always a pleasure. And nice to chat to you as well. All the links will be in the comments below, right? Like
Definitely.
and share.
Yes.
Come
Absolutely.
join me on Triton News. The TritonNews.com is where you can pick up the podcasts. We're on Spotify as well. Just search Chef Danny Davies on Spotify, you'll find me. YouTube, Chef Danny Davies, you'll find me. And Amazon, Chef Danny Davies, you'll find me.
Awesome, dude. All the links will be down there. You guys won't have to type in Danny Davis. We got you. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that episode of Get the Fork Out. We'll see you next week.